D, and this is REZ-2025-04, River Run Farm, 6490 River Run is 27 acres. It is CC to R-21, and it will have county water and septic. Mr. Dillon.
Yes, sir. The request, as you can see here, dates back almost from the mid-'80s when the River Run and Lake Lapaha was installed. You'll notice the commercial neighborhood zoning at that time and the approximate layout of the R-15, which is again converted to R-21. You'll note the approximation of the 15.3 acres here. Again, the actual boundaries of these lines, you'll note change. Lake Lapaha in general is an R-21 subdivision. The commercial you see at the very north there was installed back in the 80s. The portion there between Lake Lapaha Drive and Lakeshore Drive is actually on their island where they use for recreational purposes amongst the neighbors. Again, future land use map depicts this area as within the suburban area, which does recommend R-21 zoning. Again, the only wetlands there on the property are in that northeast corner, which the applicant is not requesting to change, and the boundary more or less follows the lake that was dug by the applicant at the time. So here's a more overhead aerial of the property, and again, you can see how that R-21 pretty much aligns with the edge of the lake. I do want to say that currently, the applicant owns approximately 23 acres of R-21 zoning, which, as you can see here on the map, has already been subdivided along Lake Lapaha Boulevard into 4 lots at the time. The applicant is requesting additional 15 acres to be added to the R-21 total, bringing them to approximately 35 acres. At the Planning Commission meeting, the motion was made to approve the R-21 with the condition that no more than 9 lots be developed on the 15.3 acres. That motion was made by the commissioner who owns the property in the north-hand corner there, that's outside the orange outline. And his concerns stem from protection of the nature and leaving an undisturbed area for his property. So, with that being said, the motion did carry 6-3 with the condition that no more than 9 lots be developed on the R-21 portion of this property.
Okay. Any questions?
This may be one of the craziest recommendations I've ever had, that I've ever seen. So they're saying that rezoning R-21 but limited to 9 lots.
That was the condition.
15 something.
And I believe that stemmed from some of the applicant's general comments that he was proposing initially 9 lots along Lake Lapaha Boulevard. Eventually, he could potentially develop the total 35 acres here, up to maybe 30 to 40 lots, depending on layout, at which time he would have to pave to county standards and still require connection to county water. Most of the concern from the neighbors talked about the overall density, but really focused on the water quality for that particular subdivision, which I already talked to Mr. Stalvey. I know he's aware of timelines, as you are, for additional well sites to help support water quality and capacity out there. So this one, again, had some little controversy around it, but it was mainly around other issues in the zoning itself. And there was also discussion by the applicants to potentially add his portion of the R-21 to the existing Lake Lapaha HOA. But I don't know where that stands today. I just know it was a comment made at that time.
Mr. Chairman, realizing we have a water issue out there, we're supposed to be trying to get aware of it. How would this impact that water issue? Pros, cons, help it, or just add to?
I don't think it's going to impact it, but we put in the new well and all, and the water issue right now, and Mr. Stalvey can go into a little bit more depth with that. But it really is the byproducts that we're having to deal with from the standpoint of treating the current water.
That is correct. It's the trident methanes and halo acidic acids is where our problem is, and that's chlorine disinfection byproducts. One of the things we're doing, and we have a project that advertised last Friday, is to get those 2 new wells in. That those wells are a little better than a mile away from the river. We feel like that's going to help. Also, in conjunction with this project, we're adding another 20,000 gallon pressure tank, so that will be doubling the capacity of on-site water. We will be testing that water, obviously, as soon as those wells are completed. And if we still have any issues with that,
And I guess we can't get any help paying for that, those wells from additional units or anything.
And really, a lot of this probably goes all the way back to the original master plan for Alcohol Plantation. Of course, that was, the master plan probably showed all of that as CC up there on Highway 84. But that's been 30 years ago plus. So we need to, I mean, that's just a change in cleaning all that up. So they got more property they can do something with. So consider that really is what this is all about, and trying to utilize that property.
So, Mr. Strawley, is it safe to say that the new well is gonna solve a lot of this water problem out there?
We can't guarantee that at all. We feel like it's gonna help us to move further from the river. But again, if we still have issues with the organics, that can be treated.
So the organics are in that.
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
Entertain me, if we follow planning commission's recommendation to only allow 9 lots, how would we do that as far as, I mean, what if you put all 9 lots side by side on the whole, on the
Yeah.
east side? I mean, technically, he would have to plat that and record it, and we would have to approve those to be rezoned as R-21 and the other not, am I right?
Well, that's where the challenge comes in, as like, as your initial statement from that recommendation is that you're using the request for R-21, but then you're gonna limit the size of the lots to start with. So if that's the case, I don't know that we can rezone it for something other than what the request is. So we have to go to what that request is, but and then put the restrictions on it. But you're right. You'd be better off to go with a higher classification, larger lot size than to limit R-21. You might then say, okay, we'll put it all in one corner. Then what are you going to do with the rest of it if you limit it to lot size or to numbers of lots? So I don't think that it's either R-21 and that's the request that you're going to need to consider, or it's not. R-21 doesn't give you the limit, it gives you the size limit based on 21,000 square foot.
Well, and furthermore, I feel like if we, Valerie said that we had an issue, a major issue with this water system, that we didn't feel like could be repaired, then I mean, we would need to put a moratorium on any development out there.
Any at all.
And we're not at that point. And we're not saying we need to shut down development.
Yep.
Okay. All right, thanks for.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to agenda item